Good Morning PD continues now on Live 95.
Welcome back to Good Morning PD Live 95. It is Thursday morning, 843-661-0937. Our number is Schofield's, our sponsor. I took a double dose of lisinopril this morning. I'm back to normal. I'm good to go.
Yeah, your blood pressure was up yesterday.
Well, I mean, we had to hire a cleaning company to come in to clean the microphone from all the spitting and yelling I did yesterday about the situation with Matt Kavanaugh.
Brett
Kavanaugh. I'm sorry. Matt Kavanaugh was a quarterback a long time ago. Everything's a football player to me. Senator Grassley, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee, basically, as much as a stuffy old white guy can say crap or get off the pot, that's pretty much what this old white guy said. He mandated that unless this lady, Miss Ford, the accuser, Miss Ford, lets him know by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning that she will appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee and present her allegations that Brett Kavanaugh assaulted her, that the committee will proceed without any further involvement from her. She can testify before the committee in public. She can testify before the committee in private. She can be interviewed in a less formal proceeding. That can be done either publicly or privately. Grassley even said last night that the committee will go to California rather than making Ford come to Washington if that's what she so desires. Brett Kavanaugh has said, I'll be there. I mean, if there's a meeting at 10 o'clock Friday or Monday morning, I'll be there. I'll be there to answer any and all questions. I'll have counsel. I'm willing to be cross-examined. I will be there. She has yet to respond. I find this interesting. I think one of the most interesting questions you can ask yourself of this political matter is, because I had somebody challenge me yesterday, it's a legal matter, it's not a political matter. Well, why did she go to a senator instead of law enforcement? If it's a legal matter and there was a crime committed, I mean, we know statute of limitations would not allow for the convict, but I mean, if this is some matter of criminality, which is what the Democrats are arguing, then why did this lady not go to law enforcement? Why did she go to one of the more liberal California senators who serve on the Senate Judiciary Committee? Because people, it's a political matter. That's all it's ever been. That's all it ever will be. It's a witch hunt. Once again, I have no idea if the lady's telling the truth or not, but they're willing to give her more than her fair shake. They're willing to allow Miss Ford to come privately or publicly. And up until now, she's not given a definitive yes or no. Now, I, as a political observant, would love for her to come because I think it's must-see TV. I think it'll be riveting. I think it'll be engaging. And, Rev, I'll be honest with you. I thought about this a lot last night. I'm glad the Democrats are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've tried to convince you, and I don't think I've been very convincing, I've tried to convince you that there are no boundaries. There's nothing they won't do. And I tried to emphasize that yesterday with spit flying out of my mouth and veins popping out of my forehead because I'm angry. And I'm angry at a movement in American politics that I don't believe have our best interests at heart. And that is the left of the Democrat Party. I'm not saying every Democrat. I'm not insinuating every Democrat. I think there are still quality people in the Democrat Party. They're just not in the federal government. They're not in Washington. For whatever reason, that party has chosen to sell its soul to liberalism. And that's what they are now. And they're power mongers. They're evil. They're wicked. I'm not saying every individual Democrat is evil, wicked, or a power monger, but collectively, they're demonstrating to you in the first person exactly what they are, what they're willing to do. So I tweeted yesterday, if you're anybody out there who has a 37-year-old, non-corroborated, not substantiated, lacking any evidence whatsoever. The accuser can't really understand clearly where she was, when it was, and what happened. The mainstream media stands ready, willing, and able to advocate on your behalf. Here's the deal. If Brett Kavanaugh is not crammed down the left's throat, and I mean cram it, I mean make the left choke on it, we'll never win again. The media will run this country. The media believes they run this country today. The media believes that they can take an unsubstantiated, uncorroborated, lacking any evidence, 37-year-old, maybe it was a crime, maybe it was not a crime. They believe they can take that and create a narrative that will stop a constitutionalist or textualist from being put on the U.S. Supreme Court. And if we allow that to happen, we're done. The media runs the country. So to Senator Grassley, I say thank you and congratulations for telling this lady to crap or get off the pot. Either have your behind in Washington or shut up. And it's not a legal matter. It's a political matter. If it were a legal matter, she would have gone to law enforcement. She went to a very motivated liberal politician. Shame on you, ma'am.
Gone to law enforcement 36 years ago.
Or even a year ago, or 2012, when she said she had this recollection while dealing with therapy in her marriage. Here's a good question for you. If she didn't want to be outed, then why did she take a polygraph? Why did she go to the Washington Post? Who paid for the polygraph? See, Rev, the media is so interested in his story that they fail to ask the most important questions. The media, folks, is a shield for the Democrat Party. And you see it up close and personal that there are no boundaries. There is no out of bounds. It doesn't matter. Nobody has said this is not substantiated. This isn't corroborated. This really has no evidence whatsoever to support this lady's claim. It's basically a he said, she said. And it's 37 years old. And I want to be real careful when I say this. But there's nothing wrong in America today with being a white man. And I listened last night and yesterday. And there's a movement in the American political media that are trying to convince all white males that you're bad. That all of you have probably done something like this before. Well, when you're 17, you're 15, it's the 80s. I call that the Duran Duran era.
Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah, Flock of Seagulls era. Loverboy, Foreigner. We could go down, the music road a long way here.
Mm-hmm.
Most men don't think about doing things like this or not. But I find it interesting that we really believe as a country, well, maybe we don't. We'll find out. I hope we don't. But we really believe that what people do as a 17-year-old are indicative of who they are as a 50-some-odd-year-old. And that's mind-boggling to me. What I'm arguing, Rev, is the media story is so outlandish and ridiculous that if we were a serious nation, everybody would dismiss it. Now, once again, I'm not arguing what happened or didn't happen. I have no idea what happened 37 years ago. That's right. We're arguing today about something that happened or not 37 years ago, and the media is giving it the most credibility of anything you could ever imagine. They're calling for a full-fledged FBI investigation. You know why they're calling for that? Because they know there's no way the FBI would ever investigate this. It's the lunacy of the left. It's the ridiculousness of the left. And I want to emphasize what I said yesterday. Damn a Washington Democrat. When we talk about working across the party lines and working across the aisle, I believe sincerely that happens in local government. I believe sincerely it happens in state government. There ain't a Democrat in Washington worth working with if you see the world like I do. Most of you do, some of you don't. I respect you out there that see the world in a different way. But if you're going to try to convince me that if the shoe were on the other foot, well, to begin with, the story would be given the attention it should be given, and that is none. I mean, think of this, Reb. The political media today, this talk show is dominated by a 37-year-old, uncorroborated, unsubstantiated, lacking any real evidence, and we're thinking seriously about not nominating somebody to the U.S. Supreme Court as a result of that? We can't lose this. This is a layup. This is when people on our side should say, shut up and get out of the way, minority. Do you believe the Democrats would do it like we're doing it? Do you believe if there was a liberal justice being nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court, a gentleman, and a conservative lady said that, let me tell you what happened between this gentleman and I 37 years ago, do you believe the media would cover that? Do you believe that would be a news story? Of course not. Absolutely not. And the reason I'm glad they're doing this is because they're showing you exactly who they are. They're showing you exactly what they're about. They're about winning. They're about destroying lives. I've said it 100 times on this show. It's not good enough for the American political left to win. You know what they got to do, Rev? They got to hurt people. They got to destroy people. And all I'm saying is this, and I'll say it as simple as I know how. If you believe, if the shoe was on the other foot, that it would get dealt with in the fashion it's getting dealt with today, then you're naive far beyond anything I can imagine. They would cram it down your throat. They would cram a liberal justice down your throat and make you choke on it. And I hope and pray with every fiber of my being that Grassley and Graham and all the other Republicans in Washington that we honestly and truly don't have a lot of trust in ourselves, I hope they'll do the Trump-like thing and make them choke on this nomination and put the Supreme Court in the hands of people who interpret the Constitution as it was intended to be interpreted. Why is the left so motivated with this nominee? I'll tell you why. I said it yesterday. The left can't tell you who they really are. That's why Barack Obama ran as a centrist. That's why we're told Hillary Clinton is a moderate. The left knows that despite their brainwashing and indoctrinating of young people about the way the world's supposed to work on college campuses all over the country, they still know that the majority of people are opposed to socialism and redistributionism and collectivism and wacko-majackamo-isms, these things that the left is so influenced by. They know that people at the ballot box are not going to vote for liberals. They've got to disguise themselves as something else. But you know what they do know, Rev? They do know and so aware of judicial activism. They know that if they can get liberals in the courts, liberals on benches, liberals as judges, liberals at the highest level of our judicial system, that being the Supreme Court, that they can infiltrate a lot of the liberalism that they can't get voted in, they can make legal. And that's what this is about. It's about a lady, it's about a man. This is about the advancement of a liberal agenda that I think is very much to the country's detriment.